Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to F1 2020. Yes, we are starting a completely new game. I've been a big fan of the F1 games in the past, and today we're going to be doing the My Team Career mode in F1 2020. I finally got some recording software from Xbox, so we're going to start this. Now, this is going to be a lot of Jeff talking, our race engineer, so I'm going to let him go through it, and I'll catch you in a bit. So for the name, I decided instead of going Chungus Racing, which is my surname, we decided to go for Chungus Khan Racing, feeling that the power of Big Chungus will elevate us higher up the field at the pinnacle of motorsport. Hopefully. I can tell you I'm currently 4 races in at the moment of recording the first episode, and yeah, it hasn't gone particularly to plan in some of the races, but oh well. So now we have to choose our primary sponsor, and we've got a nice selection of about 8 to choose from. And as Jeff explained there, the higher the signing bonus, the harder it is to achieve the sponsor objective. So as you can see, we get to Pacifico, you get a nice big fat juicy $5.2 million starting bonus, but we have to earn 25 Constructors Championship points, whereas some of the other ones require you just to finish a season. Also, the more difficult the end of season goal is, the higher the goal bonus you will get, and for some companies you will also get a higher weekly income. Now I want something that's got good weekly income and has got a good bonus no matter how tough that will be. We get a load of money on board. I believe that we're able to push this car a lot further. And originally I was looking at slingshot fuel for reasons that I will explain now. I wanted to have a very good second driver and also a very good engine unit, preferably a Mercedes or a Ferrari.
Now we've got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit, so let's sign a power unit supplier now.
So we decided to sign Jeff telling me how to run my own company. Thank you for that and interrupting me. There are 4 engine suppliers here: Honda, Renault, Mercedes and Ferrari. Now, Ferrari statistically has the best engine in terms of performance, but they may be getting a nerf at some point, and at the time that I actually did this, I suspected they would be getting a nerf, so I decided to pick Mercedes. Now, Mercedes is very expensive at 3.4 million, but again, I believe that having a good engine will allow us to achieve the tough sponsor goal. Now we've got to pick our second driver. Bunch of F2 drivers. I'm just going to talk over Jeff. I'm not having him interrupt me every so often.
Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up. The higher a driver's level, the more acclaim they'll earn for their current team. And remember, the faster the team levels up, the faster our income will increase. The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Racecraft is the driver's skill to effectively complete overtakes when opportunities arise. Awareness shows the driver's ability to avoid errors and incidents. Pace describes the driver's ability to set competitive lap times. Rating is a summary of the driver's overall skill level.
So I decided to let Jeff explain that because it's quite important there that every driver has ratings, the controversial ratings that Codemasters put out. Now, I want to go for a full British team at the start, so I'm looking at Callum Myler, Jordan King or Jack Aitken, and they're all quite expensive, $1.5 million signing contract. I decided to pick Jack Aitken, and unfortunately, because we've picked a good engine and a good second driver, we can't have, well, we don't have enough money basically. So I'm going back through the second driver and I'm deciding we need a good second driver, we need someone who supports us. It's not the case of it being a full British team, but we need a good driver, and Jack Aiken is the best one that they have. Now, I was looking at the others and Jack has the best stats, so I'm sticking with him. I could quite easily go with Renault or Honda and get my car within the budget that is set by the team all the time allowed, and I'm thinking about it, but I decided eventually to stick with Mercedes and just change the sponsor to Pacifico. Now we have to earn 25 Constructors' Championship points in the season to get the gold bonus of $4.8 million. They have a decent weekly income at $218,000 and a nice signing bonus which allows us to start our team. So we start the team. Now we got to select our livery, and this bit will be breezed through, if that's the right English. So I'm just going through. I like the idea of the fibre optic livery. In terms of the star, I decided to change it. Now I had a star in my head. It's going to be black, blue and purple, that sort of colour. So as you can see, I'm just going through it now. I may make some changes in the future to it, adding a bit of pink in there, some light blue. But yeah, let me know what you think and I'll change it, and there we go. We just went through it really quickly there. Now I'm choosing the team emblem. This was alright fat. This was about 40 minutes worth of like choosing stuff and colours and emblems. Yeah, I've faffed around with this far too much, but I want the car to look good, so even though the emblem looks pretty shocking, I might change it in the future. As you can see, we're just going through it, and then I decide to go for that one. Now we've got to choose our team colours. Now our team colours are going to be the same as our car pretty much. Purple, black and white I think is the ones I chose. Nice dark purple. Love a good bit of dark purple, especially with black and white. And there we go. Now our car is all ready, so let's begin the career mode. First we've got to choose our season length. Now I was debating doing 10 races and leaving out some of the races that I didn't want to do, but we're doing the full lot. And now picking the difficulty, this is all just pretty standard, full qualifying, full practice. I decided to not have formation lap on because I really cannot be faffed with that at the start of every race. We decided to go to 101 AI because I'm a noob and pretty shit. Standard gameplay, all assists turned off apart from racing line, but we'll get through eventually, don't worry. This episode is going to be quite long, it's going to be about an hour or so, but after this the episodes will be quite nicely condensed, so that's good. And now we're starting, and I believe the next thing we do is an interview with Will Buxton. Yes, interviewing the press. We did all of this back in F1 2018 and 2019. We all know how it works. Don't be a twat. That's basically it. So, let's see what Will has to say and how I respond to his questions.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Hello folks, and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now, we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out though as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. There's a rich history of that in Formula 1 too, so Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill, and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula One, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula
Do I feel up to the task of driving and managing an F1 team? Well, I guess we'll soon find out.
Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammate?
A skill set drew myself to Jack Aiken, also ability to get points, but yeah, we decided to go for the one that bigs Jack up.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to be?
And now, where do we believe to aim? Now, we're not going to be fighting for the championship, so we've got to pick a main competitor. Now, I didn't know where my car was going to be placed, so we decided to pick Haas. I feel like that's a good lower midfield team to go up against in our first season. And now this is the part of the interview where we decide to pick a department to basically kiss the shoes of. So I decided to go for aero. Now in hindsight that was a mistake, I should have probably gone for chassis, but what this does is gives you more upgrades. So at the start, so you'll see when we get to the R&D development that because we've bigged up our aerodynamic department, we have a lot more aerodynamic stuff available, and there is a lot more quality control with inside the aero department. And again, which one I'm most proud of is going to be our aero.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
Right, so the interview's over, so now we're going to be moving to our headquarters. What's new about F1 2020 as well is you get tasks to assign, which is what Jeff is going to be explaining here.
Check the R&D tree to see our current progress and where we think there's room for more. And while you're at it, why not take a stroll around HQ and check on how the team's doing?
Again, we've got resource points, team acclaim, which helps us gain more sponsors, and now we've got to assign some activities.
To use the time between races to the fullest extent, and that's where these activities come in. Manage everyone's time as efficiently as possible to maximize the team's performance.
So we have 14 days to use before the first Grand Prix. One of those days is a car reveal. So we've got a pre-season, driver press tour, merchandise sale, advertisement campaign, aero and chassis focus, power and durability focus, and driver training camp. Now the focuses are based around building or increasing the effectiveness and the reliability of the said department, so quality control and whatnot. So I decided to pick aero and chassis because that's what, well, especially chassis is what we're going to be focusing on quite a bit. Then we don't have enough days until the car reveal, so we decided to get a pre-season merchandise sale to get in a bit extra money. Now we're just looking at our messages, and then we shall be advancing time, I believe. So we go advance time, get some weekly resource and running costs. It's basically like Motorsport Manager, really. And now we're going to go to our car reveal. looking pretty good if I don't say so myself. I love the black, the blue, the purple and the white. It fits so well. Such an electric looking car. It's a lot of fun designing your own car. I could do it for hours if I wanted to. So what's really nice about this game, not just the having my own team and managing it, but having a nice new car being your own like statement on the grid, really. God, that sounds so philosophical. So we're looking at our facilities. Now our facilities, as I explained within the aerodynamic when we're bigging it up, our fabrication, which is how many upgrades we can have going at once, has been increased. So too has our build time. That's been reduced. Our quality control has increased to stop parts failing, and our resource point generation each, well, I'll just say not power aspect, but each aspect of the car, so durability, aero, power, etc., generates resource points, and so too does the second driver. So it's good to have those up at the moment, and we can see from the car index we are currently third worst, just above Haas and Williams, as to be expected. And we've got a pretty shocking chassis side, but good aero. So as a starting car, I think it's pretty decent, and from what I can tell you on track, the power was good, the downforce was good, the car just felt quite heavy. But as you can see here, we're going to be starting our focus mainly on the chassis side of things, and also making sure the front and rear downforce is balanced out. Now we're just looking through all of the stuff there. We've got the sponsors, which we can sign extra on at levels 5, 10, 15 and 20 for our acclaim. Looking at characters, just going through everything here, designing the helmet, designing the race. I don't think I did the helmet. I might have done that after this episode or before Bahrain. This is me just faffing around but getting used to everything. We advance time again, get our weekly running costs, and finally we get to the first race of the season in Australia at Albert Park. And tyre allocation will go balanced, always go balanced unless it's somewhere like Monaco. But even then it's more of a case I just go balanced just because it's, you know, it's balanced. There you go. Explained it really well. No, the car doesn't have enough tyre upgrades, and I prefer a nice balanced strategy to give us the best pace over the entire weekend, both in qualifying and in the race. Should have probably edited this bit out when I was doing the video, but I didn't. So, whilst we're waiting for it to load, what do I think of F1 2020? I really like it. So far I haven't really found anything wrong with it. Couple of little niggles here and there, but that's just down to me getting used to the game and being a bit crap, really. Yeah. We are going to start eventually practice for the Australian Grand Prix once I finish just getting acclimatised with the menu settings, and there we go. So here we are loaded up to practice 1, and gotta say, the game looks pretty nice, especially on Xbox. Which I say that because Xbox won't have the graphics capabilities of a PC.
practice sessions were
So Jeff is just getting me a customised there with the heads-up display, or the computer display that we have in the car, and we just go through my setup at the moment. Pretty generic setup that I got from a setup website, running quite low tyre pressures to keep the tyre temperatures relatively in check. Once I finish going that, you feel free to use the setup if you want to. We're going to start the first program, which is our track acclimatization. Jeff telling me how to drive this track, and I decide to listen to the car fire up. I should have probably not been talking over that, my apologies. But I decided to get a lap in first, just a cycle lap, see how the car handles. Coming out of the pits, having a little bit of a slide on there, was a bit too eager on the loud pedal. And we've already binned it. On the exit of turn 2, lit up the rear wheels, and yeah, nice. Not even made it like 500 meters before we've completely bottled it. Anyway, now we move on to start our track acclimatization program, where we have to basically go through these little gates and get the best score that we can do. Go through them as fast as possible without compromising exit and entry. So I'm at the moment telling Jeff to shut up. I accidentally told him to talk and I completely miss turn 3, at least the last part of turn 3. So I'd eventually to tell Jeff to shut up, but I'm just seeing how the car handles, and it was relatively nice. Aside from the big twitch on there, they bottled it again. Yeah, the car was okay in this first race, aside from the chassis just felt quite heavy, but the game, the handling model, it feels so much better than 2019. Codemasters have done a really good job this year, making it more casual and easier to pick up, but also making it more simulator based, and that's a bit of a juxtaposed like statement there, but anyway. Currently doing relatively well, apart from that turn that we messed up. Turn 3 we lock up going into turn 15 out of turn 16, get the power on nice and early, open the DRS and fly towards the line. We do complete the program, but we're 20 points off, and then we cut to the second lap we're doing, trying to get a better score. We go over the curbs at turn 11 and 12 and we bend it, and it's in the wall, and we are out of practice 1. Yeah, not gonna lie, that shook me up a bit for the rest of the weekend. As you can see here, we just go through, we clip the curb nice and well, but we get too much on the outside curb, and that sends the car into a spin and absolutely clattered the wall there. So Chungus Khan did not protect us in that first practice session, unfortunately, and there we are with the God, I really regret not doing my helmet and just rushing straight into the race. Should have done the driver's suit and whatnot, because it doesn't fit. Anyway, just going through these little bonus things where we get extra skins and helmets and like podium emotes, not emotes, podium dances, stuff like that. And it's the usual 3 at the top: Charles Leclerc, Bottas, Hamilton, Vettel, and then the 2 Red Bulls. And there I am. Jack Aitken performing well, getting into P16 in the first practice session, but obviously this isn't representative at this point, the times that we're supposed to be doing. I would decide to increase the front downforce and the rear downforce by 1 click and reduce the ride height to give myself a bit extra downforce going through the corners. And now we'll move on just to the end of our race run. Okay, still behind Perez for that lot, and then we move on to our track, our tyre wear test, which we failed, and then we're doing, I think that was our tyre wear test. I edited so quickly I can't remember. This is our, oh no, that was our ERS test. No, that was definitely our tyre wear test. This is our ERS test. ERS test, Jesus Christ, that's a new tongue twister. We unfortunately failed the first lap, so we're doing it again. Now in this one you've got to utilise as little ERS as possible. Now There are currently 4 settings of ERS. You've got 0, which is none, that doesn't deploy any ERS but charges it the most. And then we have first one, which is low or medium. I think it's medium. And that's what you get in the race. Then you've got 2, which is hot lap, and then you've got 3, which is overtake. You get modes 1 and 3 in the race, and modes 0 and 2 in qualifying. As you can see through the little bar on the steering wheel, the yellow one, overtake drains the ERS rapidly, so that has to be used quite sparingly. But so far we're currently up on the delta, although we're losing time through sector 3. We gain a little bit of time through turns 14. Turn 15 I was struggling with just to get decent rotation and an exit. We go through turn 16 now. We go down below our delta, but we use overtake enough to get us above and across the line, and we complete it. Now we're just jumping through a bunch of things, I don't know what's going on there. But now we start our qualifying pace program. This one we've got to achieve the fastest lap we can, regardless of being easy on the tyres. Basically we just got to go for it. So we're going to turn 3 now. Lock up the inside front, but we still managed to get the car relatively well turned in, going through turn 4. Through turn 5. I love turn 5, it's such a nice fast and flowing corner. Into turn 6. Like that corner too, again, it's such a fast and flowing part of the circuit is Albert Park apart from sector 3. Around the curb a little bit too much there, we don't use all the exit space on the exit of turn 9 and 10. And now we're going towards turns 11 and 12, the fast left right hander. Down to 6th gear, clip the apex on both sides, use as much exit space as we're allowed to, open DRS. Still 2 attempts down, so hopefully we can find the 2 attempts in the last sector. We missed the apex massively of turn 13 there, and that's lost us about 2 attempts. We gained some back in 14. And if we turn 15 we'll lock up the lock up the inside front again. Run a little bit wide on the exit of 16, unfortunately we don't manage to pick up the objective. A 123.2 is what I feel is a bit much for us. So I decided to go back to the drawing board and have another crack at it, I believe. So load out the qualifying pace. What is different this year about the qualifying pace is you only get to do 1 run. You get 3 chances, because if you use 3 sets of soft tyres, you get 3 chances, but you're not allowed to do 3 laps, which I find better, because after 1 lap in 2019 the soft tyres were usually shot. So it's an improvement I feel, but it does give that added bit of pressure to us. And currently we're sat in P7 at the moment. Now obviously quite a few drivers are on medium compound tyres and doing some race runs, but still relatively promising signs. Oh, we're starting our second run of the qualifying pace program. About 600 or so, but we managed to get turn 3. We don't look up, apart from a little nick of the inside front right there. Get some nice rotation out of turn 4. Ran a bit wide though, but through turn 5 we make up quite a bit of time. Throw it into 6, use up all of the exit space. We're 2.5 tenths up, going into turns 9 and 10. Clip the curb, ride on the outside, much better than last time, but we're still losing some time compared to the Delta. We've got 2 cars up ahead, I believe. It's a Haas car and a Red Bull. For what I can see, the preview window is quite small on this, but they're absolutely battling. I'm stuck in the dirty air. Oh, it's a McLaren and a AlphaTauri, and we've binned it again. We could have maybe done the qualifying pace program that time, but I don't think we would have been. Yeah, given that there was 2 cars fighting up ahead, and the fact that dirty air has the slipstream is really powerful in this game, but on the counter side to that, the dirty air is absolutely horrific. It's god awful trying to follow another car, especially when you've got a really heavy I won't say heavy, but quite a cumbersome car. So you see my driver was pretty annoyed there that I binned it in the wall. And we finished the session 8th place ahead of our teammate, ahead of Alpha Tauri, so a pretty good representative time for the qualifying pace. Now obviously points is going to be difficult in these first few races due to us being only the 3rd best car. It is doable with strategy, but we just got to hope that our race pace is good. And another thing that we've noticed, I've noticed from watching other people's videos, and other people have pointed out, the AI in qualifying are a lot stronger than they are in the race. So that has to be taken into consideration when we do qualifying, but no points for qualifying, it's all made up in the race. So I believe we are moving on to qualifying now. What the hell Jack Aiken's looking at up there? Must be a spider or something. I eventually decide to get going with qualifying. We don't have any rivalries yet. I believe I simulated practice 3. I want to actually get round to it. I'm faffing around so much in this episode, I apologise. Don't know why I'm looking at the tyres. Do you go down to assists, or what am I changing in assists? I'm turning flashbacks off, that's what. And I also changed the AI to 103, judging by what I got in practice. I decided to up the difficulty, and now we move on to qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. There, we've got our practice resource points there. We get so much because Jack Aiken got quite a bit of practice programs passed, that's the phrase I'm looking for. And we get a fair amount too, so development's going to be pretty nice this season, especially with a good number 2 driver. I wouldn't say he's number 2, but pretty good teammate. There you go. I don't want to say second driver, he's not. No team orders here, it's not Red Bull or Ferrari. Again, I didn't decide to edit out this amazing loading screen that we've got. I might just edit this out the video. We eventually get onto qualifying there. So, what am I aiming for at the moment? I don't currently have a rival, so I'm only aiming just to beat my teammate and get where the car should be. So, it's 22 cars, we're 3rd best, so that would be P16, P17. I hope that's where I'd like to be, but obviously, you know, wishful thinking, but let's see. Decide not to make any setup changes in this qualifying, apart from obviously reduce the fuel. Always check your fuel before you go out, because even though it may be like 0.1 of a lap extra fuel, it can make a difference between getting into Q2 and not, or getting P16 over P17. So we're going to go start our flying lap now. And I've got to say, this car, on rails it feels really good. On soft tyres, like, it's nice, you don't notice the effect of the cumbersome nature of the car. You don't notice the fact that it's quite heavy, there's no chassis upgrades to it. But when you get onto the medium and hard compound tyres, it is quite noticeable. Big look up there going into turn 3. I was struggling with that corner all weekend. Gonna get the rotation in, and I think I only figured out how to get good rotative setups in the third race in Vietnam. Jack Aitken goes top. I believe he was the first driver to cross the line. Then Lewis Hamilton absolutely crushes his lap time. Relatively poor run through turns 9 and 10 there. We didn't get the best entry and exit line there. Could have attacked it a bit more. Now going into turns 10 and 11, turns 11 and 12 rather. Good exit. Or power all the way down to turns 13. Third gear, sling it in, short shift up to fourth. That was a really short shift there. Nice run through turn 15. Get the power on, hold off, get the right angle, and then absolutely blasted out of turn 16. Ran a bit wide there. We've come across line, and we're P6 ahead of Jack Aitken so far. Now we fast forward pretty much to the end of the session, and I made a bit of a balls up here. I thought I had enough time to get out, but I'm leaving the garage with, I believe, 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Now it is doable, we can get round in that time. As you see, we exit the garage, and there was 1 minute 30, we cut to the end of the lap, 2, 1, and we just get across the line to start our flying lap. We're currently at P19, so let's see if we can get ahead of the two Haas cars of Grosjean and Magnussen. Currently through one corner, going down to 10.3, already nearly a tenth up, so that's a massive improvement. Massive lock up through turn 3, but we still managed to gain time. Go through turn 4, we ran a bit too wide, and yeah, that's a lap over. We get on the sausage curb, the car unsettles. We don't bin it, but we lost far too much time. We weren't able to recover at the end of that lap, so we exit. Didn't look at where I was pretty annoyed that I'd ran wide there, not gonna lie, but the usual, well, it's Q1, so we don't know who's on pole. Ah, Claire, good to see you're back in this game. So happy with that. Well, it wasn't as quick as my teammate. Yeah, I decided to be upfront and honest, made the mistakes. I did make a mistake. I'd rather just put no comment just to not affect my team and claim as much, but you know, needs must. Okay, Claire coming in thinking that she's like, you're not going to be at the front of the grid. Run your team, for Christ's sake. We're not going to be at the front of the grid. You know, Jesus, if we can catch Mercedes or Ferrari, or even get relatively close to them, I'd be surprised, you know. We're not brawn, we're not coming in and absolutely destroying the first race of the season. Yeah, that's qualifying go for us. I believe it was P18. Again, where's everyone with the negativity? Tough luck there. I'm happy with P18. I could have gone faster, but we're not last. That's something. Me and Jack are both ahead of some cars.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to Melbourne for the opening race of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to the Australian Grand Prix.
Looks like Jesus has joined us for the Australian Grand Prix. Just casually walking on water.
3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turn 1, 3 and 13. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
Ever since their participation was announced, there were questions being asked about whether an outfit like this could survive, and certainly it's proving to be a trial by fire so far. Let's hope they can continue to draw in investment and find a little more pace as well.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, Sainz, Ricciardo, Ocon and Sergio Perez, Norris, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat and Gasly, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean, Aitken, Russell, Red and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So we actually qualified P21, not P18. Must have been some hot laps in from the guys ahead of us, and starting it's going to be a one stop. I'm debating whether to go to the hards or the mediums. It's quite poor tyre wear around this track, or poor tyre wear on the car. An extra lap of fuel, though it didn't realise how good we were, but 5 red lights. And we are away for the first race of Chungus Khan Racing. And it was a pretty tentative start, not gonna lie. I decided to play it safe this first time. Latifi comes across to us in turn 1, a couple of people lost their front wings. I decided not to bull in there straight away. I didn't want to completely destroy my race on lap 1. Go down to turn 3, lots of ground gained up. Could go at the inside of a teammate. Fortunately not, he manages to go around the outside of us. We get a little bit worried on the exit of turn 4, but we've managed to overtake the 2 Williams drivers. Now at 8, King got caught behind Max and Grosjean, who are fighting hard up ahead. See if we can get a nice run, get Jack into turn 9. Unfortunately we're not close enough. Might be able to get Jack going into turn 13 if we're lucky, using overtake. We're thrown up into Rich soon, hopefully. Nice exit. Oh, we're gonna go into hot lap, into overtake, and Rich to go for a dive down this side of Jack Aitken. Has a really late move. He gives us the space and he yields quite easily there. He could have fought that one a bit harder, but his loss is my gain, so we're up into P19. Following the 2 Haas cars now, try and get a nice exit. Out of the final corner, running down into turn 1. Stroll has already pitted, he must have been the one that threw him down, so too has George Russell, so he must have been the other one. We cut really quickly onto lap 2 there, Jesus. Forgot about that poor edit. We absolutely slice our way up the inside of Grosjean, lock him massively. Runwise absolutely clatter him as we ran onto the circuit. It's a pretty disgusting move. I'm not even going to use the excuse that that's Grosjean, and I'm just employing his tactics. That was a dreadful move by me, but didn't get penalised. We got a warning though, so we're going to have to be a good boy for the rest of this race. Another 27 laps to go at the end of this one. And so far, this is going to be our fastest lap, I believe, on soft tyres. Round out the lap, we've got 2.1 seconds to the car ahead, which is Magnussen. I did notice that it was quite difficult to catch up to the cars ahead in this race. I believe I was trying to tell my engineer to shut up there. Instead I told him to talk more, which was a bit of a mistake. God, I miss. The one thing I will say that annoys me about this game is they've got rid of the shut up Jeff button. Yeah, that was probably my most used button within the team radio commands. So unfortunately they got rid of that, but we're currently gaining relatively rapidly on Grosjean ahead, who's battling quite hard with Raikkonen. We've gained about 3 tenths or so on this lap. So there's quite a big air gap between Latifi in 19th and I believe it's Stroll in P20. and the field is starting to spread out a bit. I don't want to be left in no man's land because we're faster than Aiken and we're only marginally faster than Magnussen. The only thing that's keep us in the game here is Magnussen being caught up in traffic. Coming across the line, this is going to be a 2.5 second improvement on our previous lap, and we do a 1:25.6. We're getting closer to Magnussen now. Massive cut ahead. Nothing happened. I didn't get close. I got close, but I wasn't able to get past Magnussen. Vettel comes out of the pits, and we run wide. We're unable to find the position. We have a massive snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 2. Yeah, Magnussen, he got ahead of us. We couldn't catch him. He's still up the road. He's only 2.4 seconds up, but every time we'd get close, I'd make a mistake, or he would just put it up into overtake and pull away from us. So it's a bit unfortunate. But we're going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap anyway. And we've got Vettel, he's just scampered off on fresh hard compound tyres that throw. We've got Verstappen bearing down on us. I'm praying that Verstappen doesn't try and do a Verstappen move somewhere ridiculous like the outside of turn 11, which is where he's going right now. Can he make it steer around the outside? There's a bit of contact with my right front tyre in his side pod. He backs out through and managed to keep P13, although it's not for position. I've still got to make another stop, and I'm not racing the Red Bull, but managed to fend him off, which was nice. I've noticed the AI this year are a lot more aggressive than last year. We're going to be heading into the pits. Magnussen decides to stay out that extra lap, and let's see what the Chungus Khan Racing pit crew can do for their very first pit stop. Roman Grosjean is out of the session. Me being my senile self. Is it senile or is it senior? Whichever one. I looked at Magnussen, not Grosjean. And I only realised it after I'd watched the replay. I was thinking, well, he's doing fine. You know, Vettel's locked up, doing the usual Vettel type move. And he's got passive, so I was thinking, wait, is that, oh no, that's Magnussen, that's not Grosjean. Anyway, go into the pits, see what our boys can do. 2.2 second stop, pretty nice. Jack Aiken comes in on the same lap, but they still haven't fixed the AI coming in on the same lap as you, or the fact that we can't double stack cars. But we managed to come out in P17 with Stroll coming around the outside of us. He's on medium compact tyres, I'm on cold tyres coming straight out the pits. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of work to get past that racing point at the moment. I believe we haven't jumped. We did jump one car. God, I can't remember what position we were before the stops. Well, before the pit stop time rolled around. Let's hopefully get back in front of Stroll, get to P17. Points are looking pretty far away at this point. We're not going to be getting those in this race, I don't think. We're just following on board here. Got Grosjean's car on the left hand side there, pulled off to the side. And we're just following Perez. We used all our overtake. We didn't get past it, but Perez, it's Stroll. Stroll pits again. So yes, we are able to jump Stroll because he had to move on to a 2-stop strategy, having pitted on lap 1. And we come out the pits and we jumped Magnussen, which was nice. The undercut working a treat for us. We're on lap 16. But yeah, still the undercut worked out well. So we're currently P15 and we're trying to chase down Kimi Räikkönen in the Alfa Romeo, 6.5 seconds up the road. But I can tell you this last part of the race, well, pretty much the entirety of the race was pretty dull. You know, I was able to condense a 50-minute race into just under 10 minutes of footage. This lap 25, was our fastest lap. We weren't able to catch up to Räikkönen. I think the closest we got is 6.5 seconds after that. He just waltzed on away. Alfa Romeo was so fast in a straight line. Might be a combination of his car is on paper slower than ours, but sometimes the performance index isn't always accurate, and obviously it's race specific. But I know from previous F1 games, Australia is not my strongest track, So yeah, that's my excuse. So far we're currently about half a tenth up on our personal best, using all of the battery, using pretty much all of the fuel. Fuel's been pretty good this race. We only had a lap extra fuel, and I remember I did very little fuel saving within the race, and we still got 0.3 of an extra lap of fuel. So this Mercedes engine is very, very nice on fuel. That means we can underfuel the cars which as we want to, or not put a lot in if we want to run rich the entire race. But we come across the line and it's only a slight improvement by 0.3 of a second. No, 0.03 of a second to a 25.6, and now cut onto lap 27. Valtteri Bottas is out. Mercedes having a retirement in their first race. That could be championship crucial. It's not a good start to get off to. You don't want it in any race, let alone the first race. And we can see here, just checking it is Valtteri. It's going through turn 11, 12, and his car just gives us the ghost with an engine failure. Swap back to Leclerc, who is behind. I think it's Leclerc, and there you go, Valtteri off to the side with an engine failure. So that will promote us up into P14 once we get past him, which is nice. So yeah, that was the race pretty much. Very little drama, apart from a couple of the overtakes. We managed to gain 7 positions, come across that in P14. Pretty happy with that for our first race. 21st to 14, I'll take it. And we get driver of the day. Not that my driver looks like a little circle, but yeah, nice bonus to go along with it too.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So yeah, Lewis Hamilton taking the first race win. His teammate unfortunately wasn't able to give Mercedes the 1-2 that they would have wanted in Australia to start the season off. Unfortunately having reliability issues that promoted Vettel up into P3 with Leclerc in P2. So yeah, the usual suspects are at the front of the field. And yeah, for us, pretty decent race, pretty boring, but the strategy helped us jump in a couple of cars. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We beat our teammate. We unfortunately weren't able to beat the Alfa Romeos, but they're not our rival currently. It's Haas, and we beat both of those, so that's a bonus.
It's a very handy skill to have in modern day Formula 1.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again.
Just looking, where did Jack Aitken finish? Jack finished 18th, went up by 1 position, which is nice. Undoubtedly helped by the couple of retirements that were had during the race, and we're currently 9th in the championship. So yeah, not the flamboyant or flashy start we were hoping for at the start of the season, but it was good. It's reliable. Grosjean colliding with both of Chungus Khan Racing cars there. Yeah, it was a good start, nice solid start. No points, but a good position within the table. So yeah, going to move on now to, I believe, will be oh, it's an interview. Goody. Made it look easy. It was not easy. Yeah, it was our power advantage, definitely. They came and helped us there. Gonna big up the team, increase our acclaim by that. Wasn't the cleanest race. I mean, my move on Grosjean was absolutely disgusting. So that was my fault. Bit of contact from other drivers though, but first race of the season, what do you expect? It's going to be a little bit of argy-bargy going around, isn't there? Managed to get team claim up to level 2, which is nice. Cash wise, we gained 50k from that race. Not much, but at least it's a profit. Profit always helps. And that will be the end of the video. I don't believe there's anything else after this that we do. No activities to speak of. Straight on to the next race, which will be Bahrain. So if you did enjoy this Australian Grand Prix, the start of the F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, please do make sure to subscribe, leave a like if you did enjoy it, and hopefully I will see you all for the next video, which will be episode 2 in Bahrain. Statistically, for me, not a strong track, but we have good power units, so let's hopefully get a bit higher than P14, maybe even try for some points. So please join me then, and I'll catch you all later. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.